Greetings of the day, everyone. This is my new lecture on Precy and Comprehension, where I'll be teaching how to attempt them, what should be the aptitude, what are the basic do's and don'ts, overall idea of how to go about them. This is for beginners and intermediate candidates, for everyone basically, because there are no advanced techniques or tricks in this like we have in essay. So it is for all everyone who is not only writing for CAPF 2024 but also for beyond. So first we will see what do we have to deal with. First we have to attempt a Precy of the given passage in 1/3 of its length. Do not suggest a title. Write as far as possible in your own words. The Precy should be attempted only in the Precy sheets. This is a screenshot directly from the UPSC question paper. And what have we learned from here? 1/3 is the keyword here. Then second is do not suggest a title. Okay. Do not. So don't suggest a title. It's very simple. It's very straightforward. In your own words, that means if there is any keyword or something mentioned in the Precy, we do not write it as such. We make it our own. We compress it. I'll be explaining that very soon. The Precy should be attempted only on the Precy sheets. I'll show you the Precy sheets in a bit while, and the paragraph will be given in almost 1.5 page, and it is of 15 marks. Okay. Now what is the second thing we are discussing today? Read the following passage and answer the questions that follow. 4 marks for 5 questions, totaling 20 marks. Here are the 5 questions. The questions are one-liner. We will see how much space they are being given. So 4 marks for each question, 20 marks. Now what I want to say here is that when you're stuck between in a Precy and a comprehension and you're deciding which one should I do first, my suggestion would be to go for a comprehension first, because in comprehension the answers are in front of your eyes. You don't need to think or process too much, whereas in a Precy you will need to think, you will need to process, you will need to create a draft, then you will need to write it, and it is only 15 marks. Here it is 20 marks, the comprehension. So the comprehension is of more marks, that is why we go there. The comprehension is easier to solve, that is why we go there. Let us straight away move to the comprehension part. First I'll be explaining the comprehension because that comes on a higher priority for us. Then I'll go on to the Precy and I'll be explaining that. So this is the screenshot from the QCAB CAPF 2021. The question is verbatim repeated here, and the question QCABs is given here. So here we see for 4 marks UPSC has given about 2/3 of a page, that which incident made the speaker think in terms of people's relationship to the money. Here what we do is we always read the questions first and then we read the paragraph. So whenever solving a comprehension, you read the questions first, you understand the question, that what is the question asking about, only then we go to the paragraph. You do not read the paragraph first. This is very, very clear. This is a very simple rule you have to follow. You read the questions first. Which incident made the speaker think in terms of people's relationship to the money? So in this answer I have to write about an incident. Okay, incident about what? Relationship to money. What relationship people have with their money. Second is, what did the speaker do with the torn note of 500 rupees? This means there is something of an incident related to a torn note of 500. Now I'll underline this torn note of 500. Torn note of 500, I'll directly link it with the passage that where a torn note of 500 has been spoken about, and I will write option B there. What is C? How are the young men at the coffee shop and the parking lot attendant different in their approaches towards a damaged note? So I have to ring my bell when I read the word damaged note in the paragraph, and coffee shop and parking lot, I have to see the relation between them. Lastly, according to the speaker, what is the difference between the English and the Indian way of looking at a banknote? Okay, these are the 4 and the last is relate the experience of the speaker with the auto drivers vis-a-vis money. There's another page here, I did not include it. Yeah, so these are the 5 questions we have. This is the question paper in the question paper which you get, the detachable question paper. So what I have analyzed, what I have seen, and I have cleared this exam myself, is that the A, B, C, D, E questions, they are given in the order in which they appear in the comprehension passage. To say it in Hindi, because I have been getting comments, जिस ऑर्डर में आपको क्वेश्चंस दिए जा रहे हैं ए बी सी डी ई, उन प्रश्नों के उत्तर उसी ऑर्डर में पैराग्राफ में प्रकट होते हैं. सो द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज समथिंग अबाउट पीपल्स रिलेशनशिप विथ मनी. He has given some first voice thing, and we'll understand that and we'll rewrite that. Then there is an incident of a torn 500 rupees. Okay. Then a young man in a coffee shop. I see something here, so I will mark this. This will be somewhere where C will come. A young man in a coffee shop and a parking lot. Damage note, parking lot. So this is somewhere where I'll get the answer to option C. Question C. Then between the English and the Indian way, I see many years in England without changed hands, without a word. In India, it's crisp look. So this is where I'll see the answer to option D. Question D is given here. Then the last is relate the experience with auto drivers and money. Now where is the keyword auto driver? Auto driver is here. Auto driver is here. So somewhere around here I will get the answer to statement E. So now when you have marked this, you have read the questions first, you have gone and you have traced. Okay, answer C will be here, answer D will be here. Now you turn to your CAPF. This initial process, right, of reading the questions and marking it, this you will do in the detachable question paper. Then you will go to the CAPF. You will read question A again, and then in the detachable paper you will say I have the answer A from here, and you will read this and you will write the answer here. That's it. After this you will forget what you had read in this. Once you have written answer A, you will forget it. Then you will go to B, then C, young man coffee shop. Young man coffee shop is here. You will read only this much. You will write the answer to C, and then you will forget it. You will not read this again. This will not be relevant to D or E. Am I clear? The segment of the passage that you have identified for that particular answer is what you will write. You will not write something before or after the paragraph. That is something which we have to understand very clearly. Secondly, you will not write verbatim what is given in the passage. This is something you do at the very last when you have no time left, you don't have time to think, and then you write verbatim from the passage. That's okay. But no, you rewrite it as per your own words. If you can't get your own words very much, then at least you don't copy paste it. You change the words, you change the order of the sentences. That is the thing. And one more thing I want to note here, that since 2/3 of a page is given here and you want to write in 2 paragraphs, so you leave space here. Let me show you. You will leave space here. You will start writing from here. You will write here, here, here and here. That's it. In 5 lines you will write the answer. You don't have more than 5 lines of thinking, right, for section A. So you will leave ample space here, so that the space almost fills up, so that the examiner knows that, so that the examiner feels that yes, you have written that much. The examiner is giving this much space to you so that you can write the answer. The examiner is not there to waste pages, so you have to be careful of that. So if this much space is given, you try to fill at least 2/3 of the space given there. So in the reading comprehension we try to do this. In essay, report and argument, I have spoken specifically at length in my lectures on how much space to fill, where to fill and everything. So in comprehension also, Here if it is given, you will start writing here, here, and then you will finish it up to here. You will not cram the answer here and you will leave this side blank. No, that is wrong. Please don't do that. At least write here. Here also, if it is until here, you have to write. From here till here, you write, so that the space kind of fills up. What I want to say is that when the examiner sees the answer, he should feel that the space is filled up. Now here, the examiner has given one full page, and answer E also he has given one full page. So here, since it is one full page, why he has given one full page for the option D? Because here it is dedicating one full paragraph for option D, for question D. One full paragraph has been dedicated almost. So he wants us to maybe write a bit more. So we'll write a bit more. We'll write up to here, half a page or 3/4 of a page. That's all. You don't need to fill up the space here. This I have seen in the previous QCABs also, and when I attempted the exam myself, that in statement D and E they give a slightly more of a space. It does not mean you have to fill it, but A, B, C, please fill it. He's already giving you very little space to write, so please fill it up. Don't cross out anything, okay? Please make sure in mind when you write the answers for reading comprehension, you do not write answer, then you cross it out and then you write it again. It is very simple, straightforward. From one paragraph you write one answer, that's it. So please think before writing. Your answer will be over within 2 sentences. If you are crossing out, giving spelling mistakes and everything within writing 2 sentences of the English language, then it does not show a very good picture of your command over the English language. So please avoid cutting or overwriting or striking out the answer, at least in the comprehension thing. Precy we'll talk about when we see the QCAB. So this is my opinion on this. I have shown you that just by keyword matching, you can find out the relevant sections of the passage, and then you can read that particular area and write the answer for that, and then you forget it. That is exactly the way to attempt. Now, from where to practice? You have to practice the PYQs first. Please, I have already given the 30-day strategy for those who are attempting the CAPF 2024. You have ample space to practice this. What my suggestion would be, if you have a good command over English, then I suggest you practice at least 3 reading comprehensions, and that's it. You won't need much of a thing, and that 3 you can do in the Sundays, the PYQs where I have suggested. If you feel you need more practice, then you go for PYQs from 2017 until 2023. That is your priority number 1. Priority number 2, if you have too much time, if you are preparing for 2025 or beyond, then you go for CISF LDCE exams. You can download the papers from UPSC website. And even after that, if you don't have a command over English, you have studied in Hindi medium or any other reason you have, and you are not feeling confident in the reading comprehensions, then what you can do is you can go for the Civil Services Mains compulsory English language paper. They also have reading comprehensions which are very similar to the CPF. They are not exactly like CPF. They're slightly a bit different, not too much, but yeah, those will be the priority number 3. So I have mentioned it here, so please follow that so that you do well in the exam. Now I'll move on to the Precy. Before moving to the Precy, I'll speak to some of its facts. I have noted down the size of the paragraphs of the paragraph which is given for Precy making in the past 5 years, where I have seen that there is a slight increase in the size and the number of words, where previously 350 to 370 words were asked. Now we are on an average of 450 to 480 words. That means the Precy has gotten longer. You have to write 1/3, so you divide each number by 3 and you reach up to the desired limit. And whatever is the desired limit, your Precy should be plus minus 10 words of it. Plus or minus 10. It does not matter. So if suppose 1/3 is 163, 153 or 160, then that does not mean you have to end your passage at 160 only. You can end at 150, 151, you can end at 169, 170, that's fine. but you need to be within that range. So the first thing you do when you read the Precy, I'll show you the question. Okay, the question is not, I'll show it. Yeah, so the first thing we do is that we read the number of words which is given in the Precy. We divide it by 3, we find the desired value. And as I have said, the length of the passage is getting longer year on year. That means it is going to take more time to read, it is going to cost you more time to write, and it is only 15 marks. So my personal opinion, I don't want to color your judgment, but my personal opinion is that Precy is something of a low ROI, that is return on investment, in the exam time. If you spend 1 or 2 minutes more on an essay, you might be able to recall a better sentence or a better data, or you can score better in a grammar or some other segment of the paper too. But Precy, it is not going to give you much of a benefit. That is why I suggest you attempt Precy at the very last, preferably in the last 5 to 6 minutes. Because it is not going to give you a lot of marks, because even if you write a 15 marker Precy, you can never be sure as to how much marks you are going to get in it. It is entirely dependent on the view of the examiner. Whereas in an essay or an argument or a report, the more you write, the better aptitude you keep towards writing the answer, then it is more likely that you score more marks. In a Precy, once you come out of the exam, no one can tell you how much you are scoring out of 15. You may be scoring 3, 5, maybe 10. So no one can say, and as per UPSC, no one scores more than 50%. I mean, that is the general rule. So out of 15, the highest possible score is maybe 8. And if you write a reasonable Precy, you may end up somewhere around 4 to 6 marks. That is the average range. If you spend 10 to 15 minutes in writing a Precy, it is going to cost you time. You may end up getting 7 marks, or maybe 8 if you are on a good day. And if you write an average Precy within the last 6 to 7 minutes of the paper, when the paper is ending, and you end up with 5 marks, say, then it is not going to make much of a difference. Rather, you are saving more time to gain more marks in other segments. I'm speaking without writing here. I hope you are able to understand my point, that the marks you get on the time invested is very poor in the Precy. But this does not mean you leave Precy entirely. You have to write it. You can't leave it. I'll go through some pointers which I have noted down pretty fast. Note down the important points. Yes, we have to read the Precy preferably twice, and we have to note down the important points. You keep underlining and boxing them. And make a rough draft. Yes, for beginners, if you are preparing, you're practicing at home, then please make a rough draft of a Precy, then you write it. At least you should know the points you're going to cover. Whereas in the exam, I would not suggest making a rough draft. I'll come to that in a short while. And use your own words. You can't copy paste verbatim from the passage. And next is cover all essential points. You have to understand that you can avoid data, you can avoid examples in the Precy, but you cannot avoid the argument which is being made or the opinion which is being presented by the author. So you remove the examples, you remove the data, and you write the argument or the opinion of the author, and you always write in third person, please. And if any active voice is given or a speaking voice is given, that Ram said, I am going to walking tomorrow, would you like to join, in double quotes, then you do not write in double quotes in a Precy. Do not write anything which is not mentioned in the paragraph. This is also one more point. Like in reading comprehension, you are not supposed to imagine anything outside. I have forgotten to mention, in the reading comprehension, please do not assume any facts of your own outside the passage, please. And same holds true for the Precy also. You do not assume any fact to be true or false or introduced here in this. आपको जो दिए गए दायरे हैं, जो पैराग्राफ है, उसके बाहर आपको एक भी कदम नहीं रखना है. You cannot step out of bounds. Don't use abbreviations, please. I have seen people using IMP and other short forms BC, Z, this kind of chatting and texting language is not at all deemed appropriate to write in a UPSC exam, and in a Precy you should not. I have also spoken about this in essay and arguments, that you do not write short forms. In essay I have said, if you are writing a short form, then you define the short form first and then you write it beyond. Suppose you are writing sustainable development goals, then you write in bracket SDG, then in further essay you can use SDG directly. But in Precy you are not supposed to do that. Precy you are supposed to write in full, and the Precy is such that you won't be needing any abbreviations. That is what I have seen. It is time consuming and rough draft. What I will say is that you practice 4 to 5 Precies before your CAPF. You practice 4 to 5 way before, that is this week, next week. You prepare, you practice some of them, so that on the day of exam within 5 to 6 minutes you are able to hurry up. You practice right now itself in 7 minutes time period. You time yourself, within 7 minutes you have to solve a Precy, you hurriedly solve it and you write it up. And you do not need to make a rough draft. What you do is, in the detachable question paper, on the right hand side you note down the points. You note down the points as and when the paragraph is moving. In the second reading, in the first reading, you always try to understand what the author is talking about, what is the major broad perspective he is talking about here. In the second reading, you note down what you have underlined and you try to frame in your mind, and then with your frame in the mind you straight away write it. This is slightly risky because you are not allowed to cross out or make new paragraphs in the Precy. I'll show that when we discuss the QCAB ahead. But yeah, preferably you do Precy in the last. You do not make any rough drafts for it. You write with a pencil at most if you want. And personally, I have in my previous 3 CAPFs which I have done, in that I have written the Precy for the first 2 paragraphs, and for the third paragraph I wrote maybe a sentence or 2 and I left it because there was not enough time. But the first 2 paragraphs which I wrote, they were respectable. I mean, the Precy which I had written was of good quality in terms of the language used and in terms of the essential points that I have covered. So that if the examiner, I am not sure in this, if the examiner is giving paragraph based marking, that for 15 marks he has 3 paragraphs, he is giving marks for each paragraph, 5 marks, then he may give me better marks because I have solved 2 paragraphs of a Precy properly. This is my opinion. I think maybe there may be some kind of this kind of step marking. I am not sure. I don't know anything. I am just speculating here. But yes, this is my personal approach to the Precy, that when you are writing, if you have less time and you are able to write 1 paragraph Precy, that is, you are able to make the Precy of only 1 paragraph, then that 1 paragraph should be of good quality, so that the examiner can award you marks for it, and the examiner understands that you know how to make a Precy. That is the main aim of showing up here, that you tell the examiner that, see, I know how to make a Precy, I didn't have time but I made for 1 paragraph. This is what I tell in essay also, in the introduction, that you write the intro in such a way that the examiner knows that this student knows what he's talking about, he knows why the question has come in the paper. So without further ado, I'll go straight to this. Now, special sheet for Precy, write 1 word in each division and 5 words in each line. Okay, they have given 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have given 5. Okay, you are not supposed to cross this, and punctuate your sentence in usual way. That is, if your sentence is ending here, end, okay, then you put a full stop here. You put a full stop here. You don't make a special box for a full stop. No, that is not the way. You end it right here. You may make a rough copy first if you wish on the rough pages. Yes, the rough work should be scored through before you hand over. Scored through means, suppose this is your rough page and you have space for rough work and you have written, then before you submit you have to cross it out. This is one thing which I also suggest if you have the time. This is not something for which the examiner will cut your marks or something, but still, if you have time, at the end you cross out the rough pages. At least what I do is when the examiner is on the head to take the paper 2, I request to wait for a second and I move to the rough work and I cross it out. If I have made a rough work, usually I don't, because I don't have the time at the end for this. Then here, so the moment we see 1/3, you go there and suppose you have to make at 155. Okay, suppose 155, 160 is written. So with a pencil, I would suggest you make a small mark here. You make a small mark here so that you know you have to end somewhere about here, so that when you're writing in the exam, suppose you are writing here and you know that I only have this much of space to cover the rest of the passage. So this is just a self check. Now what I want to say here is that when the Precy comes, the Precy will come in 3 paragraphs. Let me take, suppose this is an example. Okay, this is 3 paragraphs, 450 words. Then the 1/3 of it is 160. Let us take 160 is the 1/3. Okay, and now there are 3 paragraphs, 1, 2 and 3 paragraphs. So I will divide 160 further by 3. I'll go further 3 and I'll start giving this 50 words here, 50 words for here and 50 words for here. Now this is where I told you that you forget everything, you take this first paragraph and you try to resolve it into 50 words. That is your first thing. So rather than taking the whole Precy and compressing it into one, that is something when you do when you have lot of time. In the exam, I am giving you the strategy to attempt it within the last 7 minutes of the exam, when your pressure is high, when your heart rates are high. Okay, so because the normal way to do Precy, you can see a lot of videos, you can practice a lot, you can think calmly and do everything. That is all right. But I am here to give you the way you have to do in the exam, the real way. So you take the first paragraph, you resolve it into 50 words and you write it. The same way you take the second and you do it. The third, you don't have time, you write 1 or 2 sentences, you at least write the keyword which you have underlined upon reading the passage. Whenever you have read the full passage once, right? You have read the full 3 paragraphs once. So whatever you have underlined, you just write the keyword there and then you let the paper go. What I want to say here is that suppose you are writing 160 words, okay? Assume this to be longer, 160 words. You have to write the entire Precy in 1 paragraph, because 1 paragraph can be of 120, 150 words. That is completely fine. You don't have the luxury of leaving words blank here, the boxes blank here, and you start a new paragraph from here. No, that is not the way you are. If you leave the boxes empty, the examiner is not going to wait for you. He is straight away going to count until the end. He is going to turn the page and he is going to see from how far away from 160 are you. That is the first thing he sees. So why do you want to waste 4 to 5 boxes? Then another thing I want to say here is, suppose the word is completed, okay, or suppose the word is remuneration. I am taking a long word here, okay. Suppose the word is long here, it is a very long word. Remuneration is a long word. So what many people do here is that they will try to squeeze the word remuneration here. They will try to write something like this: completed remuneration. No need. You write remuneration like this, let your word cross it. You write a here, you write the here, okay, then you write in. You write every word in a new, but if your word is getting longer, then you let the word cross the box. That is completely fine, but the number of words has to be same. You see, what is the purpose of giving this box? You have to understand what is the purpose that the UPSC has taken the effort to print this box and give it in each and every question paper. The purpose is for the examiner to identify how many exact word count you have written. That is the purpose for you and for the examiner, that what is the exact word count. And if you cross the alphabet here, no one is going to care, because you are going to write the exact number of words which is being here. That means if you this in is word number 39. just by seeing it. Although you have crossed this remuneration, no one care. You have to be honest that you write one word in one box which is given here. If you cross the alphabet or something, that's completely fine. So what I would suggest is you write in a flow the entire thing. You use this bottom line as a sentence, as a line, reference line, and you keep writing in flow, and you write one alphabet here, one word in every box. You have to make sure of that, one word in every box. Wherever you end, you leave it there. You do not write in bracket so many words. No, the examiner can see it for himself or herself. Do not cross the margin. Yes, like I have said, in remuneration you can cross here, but if you are writing remuneration here, then this becomes wrong. No, please don't cross. It is very clearly written. And also for here, just because the word is long, you will no, this is wrong. Please avoid this. Okay, I have told this in essay and a report. Every video I have told, when it is clearly written, do not cross, that means you do not cross. These are very simple instructions to follow. So this is my entire opinion and strategy on how to attempt very fast, very quickly. And I have kept this video intentionally very short so that it does not take too much of time for the 2024 aspirants. And honestly, it is not the Precy and Comprehension are not too time taking of a task for teaching and understanding both ways. It's a very simple thing. Just do 2 to 3 practices. For Precy, I would suggest 4 practices maybe of PYQs. That's it. You solve the past 4-year PYQs. As we have seen, the size is pretty big. You solve 20, 21, 22, 23. And CISF also, I would suggest seeing the Precy ones, because in CISF, I recall the CISF, the Precy was around 600 words. So it is going to be a good practice. The harder, the more you sweat in practice, the less you bleed in war. So that is what we have to follow here. So this is my parting words. Please prepare well for the CAPF 2024. Hope to see you in the list pretty soon. Best wishes. If anything more, or if you need any more lectures from me, please let me know in the comment section. I will try to come up with those lectures.